up, Jayhawks? Welcome back to JayhawkJukebox. I'm Peyton.
I'm Jonah.
And today we're going to be talking about songs of the week. So for my song of the week, I chose Let It Rock by Kevin Rudolph featuring Lil Wayne. It was released in 2008, so Jonah, what'd you like about it?
It was very just like upbeat, and it was kind of like a hype up song. If I was like in a sports game, like in the locker room, or like if I was doing something else and I just like needed a hype up like before a test, it's definitely something I would listen to.
I definitely listened to it like every day for the past couple weeks, walking around class, and I got it like full blast in my beats, just like pump up, speed 9, going to class. I walk really fast when I'm listening to music.
Oh, I can see myself also walking fast when listening to it. So the song I chose for Peyton to listen to was a song called Book by Gustav. It was released in 2021, and what did you like about it?
I definitely liked the background music. I thought it was a pretty upbeat song, but I didn't know like what the song was about necessarily, so I went and looked it up, and the band said that it's about like being okay with whatever level you're on in life, and I thought that was pretty cool. What do you think about it?
I also really liked it. I thought it was just kind of silly. I originally heard it at a restaurant with my brother in downtown Kansas City, and we were having a conversation, and I was like, stop, this song is funny, and so we listened to it. So that's how I found it, but I also kind of agree that I think it's really relevant to today. As college students, we kind of are just like trying to find our way in the world. Yeah,
they said something about like just being okay with like whatever level, and everyone like works their way up a pedestal, but everyone also has a chance to like completely fall off the pedestal, which I thought was really cool. I actually found my song on TikTok.
Oh.
Yeah.
Were like people doing a dance to it or something?
No, it was like every once in a while I get like these random TikToks where it's like, do you remember this song, or you might have forgotten about this song? And I was watching it and I was like, oh yeah, I might have known this song. So I went to go find the song and I realized, oh, I actually like didn't know that song at all.
I didn't know this song. I feel like if I saw it on TikTok, I would have been like, oh yeah, I do remember that, and then I wouldn't have actually remembered it.
I mean, it was released in 2008. I guess like in 2008, it reached number 5 on the Billboard charts, and that was like a month after release. But the weird thing is, Kevin Rudolph like released this song, and then like a little bit while later, he just like fell off the face of the planet.
That is true.
I guess he had like a lot of problems with, I don't know, whatever, like legal problems. I looked it up and I don't remember all of it.
It happens, you know.
He was like the first person who combined like rock and rap though, which I think is like a really weird combo to start off with. But now like you have people like Machine Gun Kelly and like Posty who do stuff like that.
For sure, and I think that's becoming something a lot more popular these days that you see is like the combination of rock and rap.
And then when I looked him up, it said he was an alternative person, so I just like don't know where this whole like rock situation came from, but
now he's just kind of off the face of the earth.
Yeah, so you said you were with your brother when you found your song?
Yeah.
Does he listen to it?
I don't think he does. I Shazammed it when we heard it so I could hear it, or so we could find the song, but I don't think he's listened to it.
All right. Well, that's all for Song of the Week, Jayhawks. You're going to have a little break, and then we're going to jump into Olivia Rodrigo.
Right here. The boys.
I've seen a decent amount, like a lot of people. A couple of us will go until people are starting to get people from the kitchen. Keep people from outside. We can do that right now. Yeah, it's okay. You want to get everybody down? If you want everybody down here, just start playing. Zach and I run Turnpike. We're doing more shows here, hopefully. More shows around Lawrence. Yes, sir. I got my best friends here. Woo! Yeah! You ready? I think so. Are we ready? Yeah. Okay. Whoa. Basic. Yo, I'm out of luck. Yeah. My mental stable until you decide let's go. Yeah, I've been chasing things that I don't even want. I keep a straight face to you, telling me. And your friends keep passing.
this again. No, I can't do this again.
Hello everyone, I'm Hayden Grace, and this week I'm talking about my experience at the Pearl Jam concert in Chicago this past Thursday. So if you don't know Pearl Jam, I don't know where you've been, probably under a rock, but they are the grunge icons of like the late 90s, 2000s. First of all, if you don't know who they are, check them out. Staple band, one of my favorites. But more importantly, I got to see one of my probably top 5 favorite bands of all time, Inhaler, who is the opener for them. If you don't know Inhaler, then you probably know U2, which happens to be the frontman Eli Hewson's father. Bono is the lead singer of U2, and that's a big deal because they sound exactly alike. So, second coming of that band. They're also from Dublin, so if you like U2, check them out. They really achieve the rock indie vibes that a lot of bands go for these days. So. They're a classic boy band with a twist, I would recommend. Their set kind of consisted of their more popular songs, but if you're looking to get into them, I would listen to Dublin and Ecstasy, that's a staple song, and Fade Into You, their cover of Maisie Starr's hit. But more importantly was the main event, Pearl Jam. I was so stoked to see them live. That was definitely something on my bucket list, and something that my dad, who came with me, really wanted to do his entire life, and we both got the opportunity to go there together. It was super special, and they had sold out United Arena for night 2 of their tour, and it was absolutely incomparable to any other concert I've ever been to. They opened up sitting down, and then within like 5 minutes, they kicked their chairs out, and we're just like jamming. It was insane. The energy was unmatched. I have some footage of it here, and you can see the crowd is just on fire. So if you don't know, Eddie Vedder is their frontman, and he is just one hell of a performer. He is unmatched, and Mike McCready, their guitarist, just had his special edition Fender release, so if you're into that, I would check that out. It's just insane how every single song, everyone knew the words, and I've never seen a group of adults be so like unhinged. It was crazy, everybody was headbanging and like fist pumping. It was great. Again, the energy was just absolutely out of this world, and if you don't know what that looks like, I would imagine Eras Tour, but for adults. Like I said on my Insta story takeover, shameless plug, follow JayhawkJukebox on Instagram. My favorite part was this cool merch that I got, if you can see. I did crop it and did a terrible job, but they have amazing merch, amazing energy, and I think they did a really, really great job of kind of bringing in all kinds of people to their crowd. So. Thanks for listening. Go see Pearl Jam, and I'll see you next week.
It's Nolan Barrow here in the tone booth. About to do a set. It's a good night.
3 things you're grateful for.
One of my best friends in the world, Isaac Salmons. Ridiculous at the guitar. We got Gabe Sandar, y'all are well acquainted. And then coming up in City Hall set, we got Zach Black on the drums.
Hey guys, welcome back. This week we're going to be talking about Olivia Rodrigo's new album that just dropped on Friday. I'm Kit, obviously.
I'm Chloe.
And I'm Alexandria.
Obviously Kit, though.
Yeah.
Obviously.
You know what I mean. I just mean like we're like always on the show, so I feel like if anyone who has watched it maybe once would already know who we all are.
We're a reoccurring theme.
Let's jump into it.
Yup. So this album, to me, was so good. I wrote specifically that Olivia perfectly encapsulates what it means to be a teenage girl in your 20s. Like, it's so strange because my favorite line from, or one of my favorite lines from like the entire album is from All American Redacted, where she says, "I know my age and I act like it." Like, I feel like there's this expectation for you when you turn 20, 21 that you need to act like this grown adult woman, but it's like, I'm still like learning and making mistakes.
Yeah, something I really liked about that song, because not only was it like a highly relatable topic of what it feels like to be in that transition, but it also plays a bit on the nostalgia factor that a lot of people our age would get, because she'd used a similar chord progression in the chorus to the one Miley Cyrus had in Start All Over, which, like, Miley was a huge part of many of our generation's childhood, and so the fact that she was able to, like, incorporate that similar feel into the song really made the topic hit a lot harder.
And I also liked how at the end of that song, like, the positive affirmations where it's like, I'm pretty when I cry, I'm smart. You know, I literally, ever since the album came out, have found myself reciting those in the mirror every morning. Like, I listen to that song every morning before I like go to class, just so I can have those affirmations. But so we're gonna kind of run through the list of all the songs super quick. So Bad Idea, Right? Questions. What do you think?
I liked it. The entire album was great. I liked how it was able to transition from All American to
the
transition. It's like
so
All
good.
American faded out at the end, and then
she knocks
the
on
next,
the door,
and
then
then
the door
next one
opens.
starts quiet, and then there's the knock.
Me too.
And
I love
so
the song
the
that
fact
do
that
that.
it was able to like flow seamlessly was like
No,
that
like,
just makes an album 10 times better.
when I heard that for the first time, I was like, oh my god, it's so good.
It's really good, and I also feel like a lot of her songs are also really cool because she has like a bunch of different vibes. Like definitely at the beginning, it's a lot more punk rock, and then like once you get to the end, it's a lot more like what you know her from her older albums, where it's a lot slower and a lot like, I don't know, I feel like it's just whatever mood you're in, like it definitely, it has like a song for each vibe.
Yeah,
you know
and,
what I mean?
and it's funny because she's able to have this like bubblegum pop feel,
Yeah.
but with all of these like darker and edgier sounds and topics.
It sounds so authentic. And also, I wanted to talk about a song called Lacey. Everyone on the internet's being like, oh my god, this has to be about Sabrina Carpenter. But let me tell you, no, let me tell you, this song's about Lydia Knight, and I will die on this hill. I'm going to make an entire separate video about this. You'll find out later. But I'm going to make an entire separate Kids Corner about that because I have so much to say. It's just, if you know the history between those two, it just makes so much sense to me. But also, speaking of, I think this entire album literally sounds like a carbon copy of the Regrets first album, Feel Your Feelings Fool. I'm sorry, but there was there is a counterpart for every song on that album, which is crazy. But yeah, Ballad of a Homeschool Girl.
I liked it. I don't know. I like her lyrics. I think her lyrics are really good, and I also feel like it was. I liked. I was listening to it today and like reading along as I was like listening to the song, and I feel like a lot of those feelings, like you said, like all of her songs are very relatable. So I really like that aspect, and just kind of like, I don't know. I like the relatability of it all. I wasn't a big fan of like, just. This is like the sound of the song.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
Yeah.
I feel like I liked her lyrics. So
It's definitely not one that stands out too much from the album.
And like also, so I said Making the Bed is a super relatable one, but in a depressing way that I won't get into. Get Him Back, the music video actually just dropped. It was really good. I said that I can't necessarily relate to it, but I know a good song when I hear one. It's so catchy. Like, it's been stuck in my head since the album came out.
She knows how to make catchy songs.
Yep.
That's like she's found
Yeah,
her
she
niche and she's
does.
able to make so many catchy songs, especially with her social media presence. It causes them to go viral.
Running TikTok right now.
I feel like I don't even if I don't necessarily love the song or like the sound of it, at least I'm like always singing to it still.
Yeah, and
just
like you
because
can
the
hear
lyrics
it,
are catchy.
and you can hear it and always know it's Olivia Rodrigo.
Yep.
Yeah, she has a very unique sound to her, very unique vibe.
Yeah.
So I like that.
The
And I like that
last-
she brings back like I don't know,
Nostalgia.
almost like early 2000s ish.
Avril
Like
Lavigne nostalgia.
yes,
Yes,
that's what I
yes,
like
I was
was
thinking
thinking.
Avril Lavigne
Yeah.
Like I grew
the
up
whole
with my
album.
mom, like loving her and listening to her. So it just
Exactly.
definitely like makes me feel like I'm in that era, but
Yeah.
different people. So
And the last song that I wanted to specifically pinpoint was Love is Embarrassing, because unfortunately, currently relating to that one. Just a little bit too much, but you know, that's neither here nor there. And then we've got, I put like the last three. I said they were not skips, not skips, but like, I don't know. I just like the more upbeat ones. So I don't know.
I'm the opposite.
They kind
I
of
like
blend
the
together.
last three better.
Like, they all sound like songs that were already on her last album. So I feel like it's just like a tired topic.
Yeah.
No, disagree. I actually, not to intrude, but actually Miss Jolie Brown was.
Shout out Jolie
Yeah,
Brown.
she was texting me like what songs, we were talking about what songs she liked earlier today. She's like, you should listen to Teenage Dream, like you'd probably really like that one. And she was right. That song is so good. I like the reminiscent to the old, like her old album. I love the sad one.
Well,
Maybe I'm just like, that's just like
I think it was a
depressing,
really
but-
smart decision. I think it was a really smart decision
Yeah.
on her part to add those songs that sounded like her old album, because a lot of artists do get a lot of backlash when they fully switch up the vibe that
Yeah.
they pull. And so by adding those like few songs that do sound like her last album, she was able to like still keep that fan base and make it a smoother transition to her new sound.
Yeah, I definitely think so.
That is true. I didn't even think about that. You know, just like so that she can transition whenever she wants to, because
Yeah.
she's still like being authentic to like old albums.
Yeah,
but then, like,
and so
bring
many
about new
artists get
ones.
stuck in a genre.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering, like, what is she gonna do next?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I feel like she's kind of like
She's so
gonna start
unpredictable.
rapping.
More sad
Yeah.
songs.
She's
I
just
like
rapping.
I mean, she
Oh,
already has the
rapping.
talk singing.
Yeah, and I love
this
yeah.
talk
album,
singing.
so that's like a pipeline. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll wrap it up and do something else.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
For now.
What are you doing out here? Oh, you wanted pictures?
You nervous, man?
I'm not nervous.
Great day. What's the thoughts right now?
What's the thoughts right now? Bro, I'm excited.
You excited?
I heard the final act is going to be crazy.
Coming out tonight. You're so welcome.
And that's the show.
Watch the stream, see what happens.
And that's the show. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.
Welcome back to This Week in History, where we'll be recounting events in music history from the past week. I'm Jack.
And I'm Virginia. In 1961, a young band called the Pendletones entered the studio to record a demo called Surfin'. The band would re-record the song a month later. By the end of the year, they would sign their first record deal and be rechristened as the Beach Boys. Surfin' would become their first single that not only became a popular hit regionally, but broke the Billboard Hot 100, peaking at number 75.
On the 13th of September in 1965, the Beatles released Yesterday in the U.S. The song was a stylistic departure for the group, featuring a solo performance, a string quartet, and an acoustic accompaniment. Due to this, the band members decided not to release the song in the UK, which ended up being released 11 years later.
In 1965, the 8-track tape player became an option for vehicles in the U.S. The technology was first offered by the Ford Motor Company and had the 8-track as an option for their entire line of vehicles. This new audio technology was only offered in auto stores and was still a year away from being sold to consumers for home use.
In 1966, NBC aired the first episode of the Monkees TV show in the U.S. It ran for a total of 58 episodes and followed a fictional band. The music supervisor for the show limited the band's involvement, instead relying on professional songwriters and musicians. This did not sit well with the band members and caused backlash from the public. After a brief power struggle, the band gained full control and went on to release 2 albums. This lasted until the end of 1968, when they were, once again, a group in name only.
In 1968, The Archies aired on TV across America. The show is based on a popular comic strip and it featured original music, which resulted in a chart-topping hit the following year. With Sugar Sugar, 49 years later, a modernized version of the song appeared on the CW's Riverdale, based on the same comic strip. It was performed by Josie and the Pussycats, another band from the Archie comic series.
On September 16, 1977, guitarist Mark Bolan was killed in his car, when his car, driven by his girlfriend Gloria Jones, left the road and hit a tree in London. The crash was caused by driving under the influence, and Jones's possessions were looted from their home by Bolan's fans. Bolan was a pioneer in the British glam rock movement, and his work inspired artists across multiple genres. The 29-year-old left behind his girlfriend Gloria, who went on to release an album titled Windstorm in his memory, and their son Roland.
In 1982, John Cougar Mellencamp became the only male artist to have 2 singles in the U.S. top 10, as well as an American Fool becoming the #1 album for 9 weeks. Jack and Diane landed at number 4, while Hurts So Good came in at number 8.
On September 14, 1984, MTV aired its inaugural Video Music Awards show, hosted by Dan Aykroyd and Bette Midler. The performance was most remembered for a performance by Madonna, who wore a not-so-innocent wedding dress while performing Like a Virgin. In an attempt to retrieve her shoe, the artist ended up showing her undergarments, shocking viewers.
Kate Bush released her 5th studio album on September 16, 1985. Hounds of Love featured hits such as Cloud Busting, Hounds of Love, and Running Up That Hill, which had a re-emergence with the release of Stranger Things Season 4.
In 1988, Guns N' Roses scored their first U.S. #1 with Sweet Child of Mine. The song came together during a jam session. Drummer Steven Adler and Slash were messing around when the guitarist played a circus-like melody. Rhythm guitarist Izzy Stradlin saw the potential, and with a bass line and a beat, the rest came together.
In 1989, Aerosmith released their 10th studio album, Pump. The album peaked at number 5 and was certified septuple platinum by the RIAA. In 1995, it featured the Grammy-winning hit Janie's Got a Gun.
On September 10, 1991, Nirvana's breakthrough single Smells Like Teen Spirit was released in the U.S. The song was not an immediate hit until its music video picked up traction on MTV. The video featured a high school pep rally breaking into a riot. By the end of the year, it became an international sensation, landing on the top 10 charts in the U.S., UK, Australia, Canada, and across Europe. It was dubbed as the anthem for the apathetic and marked the moment when alternative rock and grunge entered the mainstream.
3 days later, Geffen Records threw a release party for Smells Like Teen Spirit. The band initiated a food fight, which resulted in them being kicked out of their own release party.
On September 11, 2020, Toots Hibbert died at the age of 77. The frontman of legendary reggae band Toots and the Maytals was one of Jamaica's most influential musicians and helped popularize reggae in the 1960s. He was such an influential figure in the rise of reggae music. He is widely recognized to have coined the term via his hit 1968 single, Do the Reggae.
All right, and that's enough for us for right now, but we're going to go on to a different jam right after this. See you guys later.
Bye-bye.